Hey, IRS Anonymous here. Let's just get into it. Not too long ago, I just got out of court. I think we're done. And yeah. So the first court date we had was in like end of July, I think. And so there we didn't have a court case. They said we want a jury trial or whatever. So that's what the guy who did the domestic violence thing, I guess I'm gonna refer to him as AR. Yeah, I'm gonna refer to him as AR. And the terminology is kind of still sticky with me. So yeah, I don't be knowing the word and terminology too much with this stuff. So I'm gonna try my best. So we didn't do that time. And I was looking around like, what? And a police officer that was in the courtroom during that decision making, he got my attention and he was like, come on, let's go outside, basically trying to get my attention to go outside. So he talked to me outside of the courtroom. My sister and my brother-in-law was with me as well. And I always advise that at the end, I will give a summary and advise and some things that this whole video is kind of just try to help someone else out and know some certain things that will happen in this kind of case. So the police officer started explaining to me. He said, so what's happening is he does have the right to a jury trial. Okay. What they're doing is they're pushing out because they first didn't think that you were going to show up, because victims don't usually show up for these things. Or they know that that judge was going to send him away in handcuffs like the guy before y'all case. And so I'm like, okay. So he was saying, so he has that trial. So he has that right to do that. So that's what was today. It didn't really happen. So I'll go with that later. So I'm just like, yeah, no, I will. I will be there. So they were saying that what they're going to keep trying to do is, what they would do is try to push it out as much as they can, because they don't think that the victim, after a while, the victim would just be like, just forget about it, I'm not going to show up. And or they will push it out so much that the case becomes stale. And so I'm like, okay, so they can have that bitch in Hawaii. I will be there for vacation, and I will be there 30 minutes early to court. So we don't got to worry about that. The stale part, I don't want that to happen, because after a while, they'd probably be like, what? Y'all still talking about this case? And, we got other shit that's bigger. We got people robbing whole ass malls and shit. It can make the case look like minor or whatever. So I was like, I don't want to do that. So I had talked to a lady here I do. She's an attorney, and so I was like, is there something I could do? And she was telling me that I could ask for a speedy trial. So a couple of days before today, I'm going to upload this today as well, I think. Today is September 13th, 2019. And I don't know if I said this or not, but yeah, I had just not too long ago gotten out of court today. So a couple of days earlier this week, someone called me, a state attorney called me, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to request a speedy trial. He was like, okay, I can do that or whatever. And so because I don't want the case to get stale. That's what I was getting at. Okay, so that was the first trial. So we didn't really do that one because they pushed it. Okay, he has the right to a jury trial. All right. So today really wasn't a jury trial. It was more so the judge, and then I guess if certain things happen, then it would have been you can present this case in front of a 12 seated or something jury. So 12-person jury. So anyway, so today happened. When I came in early, and I just sat around until the courtroom was open, so you can go in and check in that you're there. And a guy stopped me when I was coming around the corner. He was like, he said my last name, and I was like, hi. And he said, yeah, I recognize your face off of the video camera. It was his lawyer. He's like, I'm sorry about everything that happened, and we're going to try to settle everything as best as possible. I was like, thanks. And I just turned around and went to go check in. And so when I went to go check in with the guy who actually had called me earlier that week, the state's attorney, he was saying, yeah, he was explaining to me, because I was not really getting it. And I do advise someone to always have, yeah, he's an assistant state's attorney. Yep. And I advise to always have somebody to go with you, because my nerves was kind of going all over the place, my head. All I know is that I want him to pay for what he has done. That's all I know. I don't know how much, how, or whatever. And so I had him kind of like explain it way too many times. I was like, how long do I have to think about this? Can I think about this? So I went to sit down, and my sister hadn't gotten there yet. So the first time I went, my sister and my brother-in-law was there. And this time it was just me and my sister. And so after he checked in everyone, he actually called my name, and we went outside the courtroom to talk. And then my sister was walking up. I was like, can you explain what you said to me to her? And so basically what he was saying, I kind of understood when he was talking it to her, telling it to her, because I'm like, yeah, emotions, feelings, everything was just kind of like, yeah, going fast and stuff, and just, yeah. And so basically he said that AR, the guy with the domestic violence, everything that happened with him, he pled to guilty of theft. And I said, so everything else is gone. This is the second time doing domestic violence. The first one was in Florida. For some reason, they act like they didn't know none of this stuff. I'm just like, okay, whatever. And so the assault would be dropped, the fraud would be dropped, and they would keep the domestic violence. So I was like, what would that be? So overall, he said that he would get charged with theft with the domestic violence. So they kind of mixed that together somehow, and it would be a misdemeanor. Before he got a lawyer, so the guy AR he actually hired a lawyer for today's trial, because before then, if he didn't, he could have gotten up to 10 years in jail. So with the lawyer, it kind of basically helped him out. So I was like, what can he get this expunged off his record? He was like, he would have to do a lot of work. It wouldn't be just an easy, taking it off his record. He would have to put some work into it and stuff like that for it to get off, and it won't. And he said, I think up to 3 years after he's been charged, that he can't get it expunged off of his record, and after that he will have to do a lot of work to get it taken off. So I'm like, okay. And so I'm like, what's the likelihood that if I want to go ahead and try to fight for the assault, what's the likelihood? And he was saying not really much at all. It's they're going to keep trying to push it, and then that's when it probably really gets stale. So I'm just like, okay. My sister made a call to some people that she know, and she was like, unfortunately, in these situations, they really don't support victims. They really don't. Shit's fucked up, crazy. And I think you just kind of, as much as you can fight as you can, I advise that. And the rest of it, leave it up to karma. What goes around comes around. It's just law. You don't even got to believe in karma. What goes up must come down. Law of attraction, law of polarity, law of universal laws. I'm not sure if y'all know universal laws, but it's just law. Something will come back around. You do bad, you may get bad done. It may not be in the exact form, it will just come back. So you kind of got to lean on that after a while. I just know that I'm going to fight as much as I can. I might not, and this is the criminal case. So the most I could do with the criminal case, I did. And so I'm like, with civil, I think like getting money back for what I lost with this whole situation. They were saying that you probably spend more money on a lawyer than what you will get back. So I'm like, that doesn't financially make sense to me. So I was just like, as much as I can fight against him, especially with the criminal, I'm going to do so. So I think everything is pretty much done. He got charged, and I'm just like, okay. I just kind of been running through it. It's been still running, and I wanted to kind of get this video out not too long after, so I won't have to keep replaying this again. Yes, so that's my story. That's not too long ago, just happened with the case. So everything's I think it's pretty good of closure. Also, I did get to speak at I didn't know, I wasn't prepared to. I just know that they were going through all the charges and everything and telling him his rights and everything. And he was like, would you like to say something? The state's attorney turned around to me and he was like, would you like to say something? And I was like, oh, I didn't know. But I was like, yes. And so the judge asked me my name. I told him my name. He asked me, how has this impacted my life? I told him it has impacted me financially, mentally, and basically socially. And so I'm just like, financially, I had to move. And he was like, why? Because I was like, he got through all of the security that was in my building. And I just moved. And of course, the protective order is but so much. It's just a piece of paper. He shouldn't, do anything. But, I just don't want to, yeah. So I was like, yeah, that. I'll go to therapy. And, socially, I'm like, I don't really like being around people like that. Well, especially guys. It's just been different with guys, especially. So I was like, it has impacted my life. And he was like, I'm sorry about that. And I sat down. So, yeah, everything's cool. I just don't want to keep talking about it too much. So, all in all, I advise that at least try to fight as much as you can and have somebody to go with you. If I could go with every fucking body to one of these cases, I think I would. Just so they can have somebody there with them and not feel alone. Because certain things we should kind of go through the emotions, because you are allowed to go through your emotions, and don't let nobody tell you you can't. You're allowed to go through all the emotions that you need to. And yeah, I would just be there with them, because it's been a blessing that my sister and my brother-in-law had came with me, because I'm like, it kind of helps me with my nerves, know somebody there who cares about me and to comfort me, and to also hear things out, because I'm like, I don't know how to explain this back to you, what they're saying. So can you say the same thing that you just said to me to her? So it's definitely helpful. And I'm like, if I could, I would definitely want to go and help a lot of females, at least be there with them. And, to not feel alone or anything, and to just know, yeah, somebody's here, and I can, if you can't understand what's happening right now, or anything, or you can't comprehend well, I'm here for you, for me to help you comprehend and understand, until when you come down off of that, I kind of bunching in with that fight or flight mode, because you're just like all over the place. And so once you come down from that, I can explain to you what was going on, and just be like, what's the best thing that she can do, for of course, for free, and for them to pay for what they have done. So I would definitely, if I could, I definitely would help people with that. I mean, and men aren't exempt too. I mean, I've seen some men up in there, especially the first case. This man, he went through the ringer. I was like, sheesh. He was like in there for his like 13th time. And I'm just like, it does not just happen to females. It happens to males as well. And I'm just like, this is crazy. This is crazy. You don't know until you kind of almost get into the situation. Usually I try to learn from other people's situation. In this case, I'm learning from my own situation. And I'm just like, I don't usually take anybody else's experience for granted, nor mine. And I try to learn from all of it. And I'm just like, it's crazy how many different cases can be with this. So that's that. I advise people, especially if you're in a domestic violence situation, and I don't know if you looked at my first 3 videos of me explaining my story, try to fight if you can. All I know is that this is not his first time doing this. And if he got mad at me just ignoring his call, he can do so much worse. And I'm like, he got mad at because I ignored him. I was like, first of all, he acted crazy in front of his mom, then called me out my name, and then got mad because I told him I don't want to talk to you anymore because you called me out my name for no reason, and ignored him. And he got super irate. You may think that it may have been more to why he did all of that shit to me. No, he literally could not take rejection or me rejecting him and ignoring him. So he just went the fuck off. And I'm like, I'm still alive and I'm grateful and I'm thankful. And I have the chance to fight to make him pay for what the fuck he has done, at least. Because what I keep thinking about is that this could be somebody else, and it could get fucking worse to the point he could kill somebody. And how would I probably, I mean, some people may not think about other people, but I'm just like, I would not be able to live right knowing that, oh, I got out of the situation. I'm not usually that much of a selfless person. I can be selfish. At times I'm not that selfish of a person, and I'm just like, did I say selfless? I can be selfless. I don't be super selfish all the time. How about that? And I'm just like, that would not sit well with me for the rest of my life if I knew that I could have fought against him at least to straighten up or something to save someone else's life. And so that's why I keep saying he needs to pay for what he has fucking done. And I'm going to try to do as much as I can. And so I feel like I have done something as much as I can. The financial part, I don't think that it will make sense for me financially. The criminal part, I'm like, something needs to be charged. Now, if he wasn't going to get charged for anything and nothing was going to happen, I'm like, yeah, we're going to keep pushing for something to happen. So, yeah, I feel better letting that out. I kind of wanted to get that out while I was still fresh, so I won't have to keep reliving this. You try to fight as much as you can. If you can, if you have the strength and have somebody, especially if you have someone else to help you to move forward, do so. And no, I just gave you my example of the court things. What they're going to try to do is try to intimidate you. I don't get too much intimidated that much, so it wasn't really too easy for them to intimidate me that much. It's just that their tactics about it, how they, I mean, you can't fight up the police officer or anything, fight the police officer or the judge or anybody. So it's just the most that you can really do. It's like, no, I'm gonna show up. If that's what I can do, I'm gonna show up to make sure something happens with him. I'm not gonna let him go scot-free, because what they can do is potentially just get worse. And it's just like, no, he needs to pay. So I'm thankful that he's gotten something for what he has done, and I think he's taking a hit financially him damn self. So he had to go get a higher lawyer. From what the case was saying, he was saying that he was supposed, at the time he was working at a job and he was trying to get another job when everything went down. He didn't mention that he had any of those jobs. He just said, well, yeah, he's doing a family business. I was like, yeah, I know what that is. They're Airbnbs that they have in this state. So I'm like, he don't really do much anyway. So, and then he's volunteering at a thing. I was like, that's his mom's thing. Are they going to ask where he go to? Where is that located? It's not even located in this state. I'm so happy that the judge, because the judge was kind of calling bullshit on that. It's like, he was like, how long have you been down here? You've been down here X amount of years and you haven't brought that program down here? Okay. So I was kind of happy that he was shifting through the bullshit that they were trying to give him. So the judge was pretty cool. And did I already talk? Yeah, I told him how it impacted me. So yeah, just go through the process if you can for free. It doesn't really cost you much, but transportation and your time, and try to fight if you can. So I think that's all I kind of wanted to say and give you an example of my process and how it could go with a domestic violence case. I had a little bit added on that. So yes, thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in my next one. Peace.